All right, everyone, let's have a little look at the second week of the Developer Journal for TW9, TW 2024, wherever you want to call it. So again, just going over the week, this is better than like a 5-minute video going over each day, obviously, but let's just go over things here. So angle overhaul, like he says, the old angle system was fine, but it had limitations, especially stuff where basically, you wanted a, 4-minute, promo back and forth, or like, 4-minute promo where one guy was speaking, then 4 minutes out comes another guy to argue, and then 4 minutes out comes, and then 4 minutes where they brawl or whatever, and then like 2 minutes where the GM comes out and sets up a match later that night or whatever, like that. You would have to book one angle, figure out, maybe only the GM on cameos, what to actually like, rate them on, and all that good stuff. So that was slightly annoying. So I understand that. Like again, not terrible, but like not good. But pre-written angles are gone. I mean, honestly, I don't care. I'm sure there were people who use them, but like even in other YouTube like series I saw, nobody used pre-written angles. So yeah. Streamlined, anywhere from 1 to 5 parts. So basically this is just makes like any what I just went over. Like so, that would be a 4-part angle. I like a range of options because like not every angle has the same point. Like story development, a surprise, and I'm sure this like affects the ratings of like what's more rated on. Like I'm sure like also there might be also like basically a chance of what like goes false flat. Like a surprise might fall flat if somebody isn't over enough, or their gimmick is bad or something like that. Same thing for hype. Serious. I mean, serious. I worry. Like I don't know, but like a video is always pre-taped. Stuff like that. In ring, backstage, outside broadcast. Um, I wonder if there'll be an option for like basically weird spooky stuff. Weird basically. Oh god, what's the W name for like the boneyard match? I want like stuff like that, or like basically like the weird pre-tapes in odd places. But yeah, large posts. So I mean, I also like there's like more options here instead of just like various like enemy and everything. Um, how they're rating. There's good. There's also no limit. I mean, obviously, like even in some cases, like I doubt there's gonna be many people actually doing like 20 people in front of those weird promos where Vince McMahon would come out and do like long promos, like saying announcing a draft or anything. Good road agents, some new road agents. Text output. I mean, you know me. I just like tend to just like speak it anyway. But this will be helpful for people who just just basically like write up everything. Um, right, yeah, brawl type videos, basic angles. So that's good. So I mean, there is still pre-written angles. They're just not pre-written. They're just basically drop downs. Yeah, right, and basically just like went over the flow that I just went, for example. External editing. Yeah, I mean, this is good. That basically there is a system for people who are doing databases. I mean, I'm trying to make a database. It's part of the reason I'm sort of like slowed down. I mean, part of it is my own like just slowness and procrastination, but also it is kind of tough to edit stuff. So it's good like there's basically what's the word I'm looking for here? Options like to go in here and just quickly change stuff in like an actual database as opposed to the editor. Yeah, and multiple records at once, sort columns with data, blah blah blah, and making group projects, all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, and like it says, should help with the grunt work. Obviously, it's not like perfect or anything. I'm sure. The actual big time editors will still have issues, but honestly, again, this is not OOTP. This is not Football Manager. And even those, from what I've heard, like the editors aren't like great. So it is what it is. Enhanced message editing. I'm hopefully this will a lot of the stuff like I've wanted to do as far as like because like again when you create a whole like fantasy scenario where people have like totally different like backgrounds, it can really make stuff hard to do the editing. You're trying to find title names. I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, basically we don't want like the the NWA Internet title of 1986 or whatever. Single use injuries. Yeah, I mean basically. I guess appendicitis makes sense. I can't even think of other single use injuries. I'm sure there is. I'm just blanking on what they would be. Older. I mean, this makes sense. Obviously, Dusty Dustin. Jeff Matt. Okay, that's a little worse. New owner goals. I mean, great. Like a lot of time played with either overhauls off or not really caring about them. Overhaul specifics. I mean, this does help because sometimes there's stuff where like I go to hire or fire somebody. I'm like, wait, they break the overhauls? Okay. Um, Canvas opinions. I mean, this is just like sort of like the what's what I'm looking for here. This is sort of like just like when you get the pop saying, "Hey, we like this person" or "We hate this person," adding, but instead of like just having it be 20 pop-ups, it's just like one, I guess. Uh, yeah, generic sex scandal, I guess, is better than sex tape scandals. Even though, I mean, obviously, like we could have like different ones where like it's a sex tape scandal in 2008, and but also, yeah, that I mean, this is fine. I get it. Automatic works. Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, again, this is just a good editing thing for like, yeah. So you don't have to set it for 50 zillion different people. Okay, and this is something I really like because part of like doing any like back end, not back end, but like sort of like historical stuff, is it make it very difficult to like sort of set things up because there is stuff you can set pretty easily, like TVs versus pay per views, um, schedules, even if there are problems with that and other stuff. But like yeah, stuff like wage demands, marketing expenses, TV but obviously TV revenue until about like the mid '90s should be actually really low. Well, pay per view revenue should like actually be pretty decently, actually hit a peak and then like drop off like as of like 2005. And then there's stuff like show cost and new hires. Um, a TV viewership and pay per view is a big one because like there are ups and downs. Attendance. I mean, attendance like I like being just sort of like business based, but like yeah, even like yeah, sponsorship. I mean, again, this is also good because like basically until recently, sponsorships would be actually pretty low just because like companies did not want to like have wrestling around. Wage demands are good because like again they were actually fairly decently low and like I mean until the 90s like again like the old idea where like that is one problem I found like in like again historical games where all of a sudden CML has to like pay people $250,000 because they're in Mexico but and they then go broke or whatever so that's good. I also like this, like 500% is 5 times greater than normal. Like, I guess that sort of like simulates, like the, I don't say like the future, or maybe just like if you want to like make things more difficult. So yeah, and I guess fantasy scenarios also like yeah, in this area where like there's like 4 different national companies, so everybody wages are higher and stuff like that. Area specific contracts. So yeah, I guess this basically makes it sense. So like, there are no written contracts until like 1984, or really, there's no written contracts really with very few exceptions until like the mid 90s. I mean, yeah, basically you can't. There's now you can have like a 12-man battle royal if you need, which is helpful for those random times when you need a battle royal, but you're either a smaller company or stuff like that. I mean, automatic negotiations. Yeah, this is good. We're retiring, coming out of retirement. This makes sense, even though like I'm sure actually like if um Roman Reigns had to retire, he would still be on his long contract, like with all the money. But that's also WWE, so who knows? Mr. Rockers and Champions. I mean, this is fun. Because yeah, with the new date thing, you can now just go to 1990, on January 19th, 1992. Who is the U.S. TV and champion? Just make sure everything's correct as far as that goes. Wrestling school affiliations. I mean, yeah, this is just power plant. you know, movie descriptions, good. I mean, I never really cared because, like, just real life and there's decent stuff, but it will help me out, honestly. If you've ever heard me scramble around when I'm trying to figure out what moves are, um, when I'm doing pay per views and such. Um, this is good, even though, like, there were a lot of tag teams where, like, in, like, shoot interviews, they basically say so many words they were, like, basically never hung out with each other. But, I mean, like, it is helpful because, like, yeah, there were teams like, Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson who hated each other, and also there are teams like who ended up being like best friends. And like Paul Ellering really being legitimately close with the with the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette being like really good friends for years afterwards. So that's all good. Request call up, yeah, okay. Um, so yeah, basically the parent, the child company can say, hey, this guy's not going to be any better, even though I can get this can be kind of annoying, especially like in an NXT scenario. So I hope there's more stuff about child companies that allow you to more aptly like control them, given what their actual goals are and stuff. Because like yeah, and hopefully I hope there's like the go down help train people scenario again. Import job history, great. Yeah, tag histories, or just like if you want to just really short basic. I mean, diversity, again, this is all good. Obviously, like a lot of this would be fairly, not until fairly recently, but great. Obviously, let people, you know, let people do what they want, and for more future scenarios or fantasy scenarios or whatever, do what people want. Obviously. As women's divisions, yeah, I mean, obviously, women's and there are like occasionally men's wrestling in women's divisions, especially like in Japan. There's the occasional like midget match, and there's occasionally like men doing one-off matches, or just like there could be a fantasy scenario where like there's the men who are like a small part of the company. Gender, great. We each worker, primary women's. Yeah, I mean, this is good because like yeah, basically like the scenario Adam puts out, like where somebody's like 95% a women's division wrestler, but every so often is in a mixed tag match. Like this is really helps with like basically like divas in like the 90s and 2000s era, and I'm sure there's like random Vince Russo stuff. And I mean, even now, like mixed match challenge would be basically impossible to do, and now it can. So yeah, expanded awards, great. I mean, the only thing is like I do like the idea of like the overall wrestler of the year could be a woman or man, or tag team or manager. So I hope like yeah, this is sort of like I wish there was like overall like I wish it could like basically for like wrestler of the year there are the overall and male and female or overall and female and then men, like just so there would be like two total awards, but one would be the overall plus whatever gender they are plus then whatever the other gender is. Yeah, gender specific hiring rules. Yeah, this is good. Basically, so yeah, I mean, there was problems I know where like don't hire any tiny wrestlers, but I wanted to hire some valet who happened to be like a small wrestler. Yeah. Um. Sure. I mean, this makes sense. Yeah. Again, gender divisional searches. Yeah. I mean, this makes sense. I mean, I never ran into too much problem with this, but it does like help a little more fine tuning. Uh, I mean, again, this also makes sense. Like, there could be a road agent who, I mean, I'm sure, like, a lot of this is like most of the current, like, W road agents or producers, whatever they're calling these days, are guys who are in TNA, and they probably began their job doing their job in TNA when they were at that lower experience, but they rose that experience up and they got hired by W. So that makes sense. Precise end dates. Yeah, I mean, this is good just because, like, excursion scandals, injuries, absence, all this stuff, like, there's all, like, basically this allows stuff like, okay, don't allow this person back from their starting absence until the Royal Rumble or until, the day after Mania, or like for historical stuff, or when like when their injury actually was back and stuff like that. Same thing with excursions and scandals and everything like that. So that's good. Again, like it was always, goofy to like set up for week 3 January and hope the game would like know when they're bringing them back. I mean, realistic avatars, this makes more sense. I basically like you have to like make you be more worried about who you choose as your avatar, because like if you choose like Vince Russo as your avatar, people are going to hate you automatically, or Bill Watts or whatever, which makes sense. Like but um, but also like it goes with their personality right from the start. So again, um, Paul Heyman, people think they're going to not pay you, fun stuff like that. So yeah, this makes sense. I mean, obviously, it gets rid of the gaming. I like the user talents, but like I think a lot of people just basically ignore the user talents, which is why they were gotten rid of, honestly. More avatars. I mean, yeah, I'm not playing games for 40 years, so it is what it is. Changing avatars. I mean, this makes sense, and obviously, this sort of like this some would help like in like sort of like not long term games, but sort of like testing games. Just to sort of test things out. So yeah, and yeah, this is also good because one problem was like there would be avatars you want to select and like leave, but then like that person would just be like yeah. So that's good. I mean, this is just sort of like what I do a million times when I like when I take over Vince McMahon as Vince McMahon, or or Triple H over in WWE or TNA in my other games. So, but this just like it makes it more easier, I guess. Um, Avatar Wealth, good. I mean, yeah. Okay, this is actually a really good one, gimmick memory, because like I do, yeah, one offs or bring your people up. Um, Or yeah, I mean this is good stuff for like yeah, bringing in people once, or alliance trades, yeah, stuff like that's really good because yeah, because it really sucks when you bring somebody in for like for borrow from your death fed, they get a great gimmick, and then you have to bring them back and then you get like a mediocre gimmick. So that's a lot better. Crowd heat display. I mean, this is good. I mean, honestly, I know people sometimes like get upset over the burned out ratings, but again, maybe don't book 80 silly matches. But yeah, I mean, this does make crowd management a little easier and helps people know like when to like actually like help them learn when to actually put in their like cooldown matches and everything. So this is good. Um, I'm sure people will still complain when they're Kenny Omega versus Brian Danielson 60-minute Iron Man match is not good at 99, but it is what it is. Wrestling and crowd ratings. This is also good because honestly, this also helps like stuff like for weirdos like me who like putting over like whether it was like a good match and like a crappy crowd or a really great match but the crowd didn't care, stuff like that, and also just like also people when they're just playing the game know okay, so the problem is people don't know who the hell they are, not that they're actually good. Editing during booking, I mean, this is always helpful just when you forgot stuff. Hope it like yeah doesn't cause any issues with the game. And yeah, Power 500, like yeah, you can have yeah you can have oh god, I'm completely forgetting names. Like yeah, you can have I'm reading any wrestler's past name off the top of my head. Like yeah, you can have you know Kana instead of Asuka. You can have Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, stuff like that. Company editor is good because like yeah, this helps because honestly, um, one of the pains is like going in, changing in editing, and going and changing the company, then have to go to the title part and doing all that stuff. So this makes like honestly, this is a like this is a little thing, but this makes like doing large scale edits a lot easier because you just say, okay, today I'm going to do all the editing for WF, and then I'm going to do all the editing for NWA, or all the editing for ECW or whatever, and do that instead of like having to do okay, now I'm going to do the editing for every single event in the game or going back and forth. So this is really good. Media scrums. Okay, so I hope, like, basically we got some medium scrums. You'll be asked questions, some pre-written answers, boost the morale or affect the morale. You get some instant feedback to 270 possible questions. One thing I hope is like basically like the good thing is this is like optional because like there are no medium scrums in 1986 but this itself. Mixed Man is not coming to a media scrum after the 1991 Royal Rumble. Stuff like that. And I hope this part where like the media is smart and will actually follow up on previous answers. Insert joke about the Kurt Russell media not doing that, but hopefully they do, and we'll, like this it'll be fun to basically play kind of a scumbag who's like trying to keep like basically play Vince Russo in 1999 WCW and try not to have everybody hate you after 1 month of scrums. Instant feedback, yeah, I mean, I like there's not everything is obvious. I know there are people who just want everything to be told to them, but I like some stuff people won't react obviously, but all of a sudden they dislike you. So yeah, real realism with the locker room and all that good stuff. Okay, this is good. I was sick and tired of 1992 WCW being able to get like 60,000 people to a show. Like I understand like there's really big shows that need big attendances, but also like this combined with the errors will hopefully help that like it'll be actually really hard to get anybody to 1992 WCW, honestly. Um, right, yeah. Relationship, obviously, if I'm Shane McMahon and, well, okay, bad example. If I'm Stephanie McMahon, now, Vince is still the owner, that'll be less difficult owner goals as if I'm Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon is the owner in 1999 or whatever, stuff like that. Graduation, I mean, good. I mean, I understand people don't like it. I like having the wacky power plant graduates, for stuff. Company headquarters, this is interesting. Minor benefits, prestige, influence. I mean, this all just helps for what we're looking for here for realism. Like W has a headquarters. WCW sort of had one. ECW had Paul Heyman's other room, stuff like that. Physical Hall of Fame, again, minor benefits and prestige. Again, this will be interesting. Ironically, WNet doesn't have one still. Okay, developer reports. Again, a lot depends on how much these developer reports actually tell you. But if they're actually telling you, the average of the ratings, their increases and decreases, this is all good stuff because honestly, it helped me from having to stop and check my dev head after every show to see whether people are up to the right rating or not. Good more attributes, yay. Database summary. Okay, I mean, again, this helps people, obviously. Broadcaster coverage. So, okay, yeah, this is good because you can just clone a bunch of broadcasters. If you're just doing 8 different syndication companies in the 8 different parts of the country, you can just do that real quick and help do that instead of having to create 8 new ones and all that fun stuff. So this is good. Same thing with national broadcasters and all that fun stuff. So great stuff. So yeah, I think again, the big stuff here is the new angles, the changes with avatars. The difference is, I think actually errors will be a big thing that people don't get understand at first. But when the first time they're doing WCW 1992 and it's impossible to get more than 3,000 people to the show, and all of a sudden being able to pay, having to pay, trying to pay, Hulk Hogan to come in is going to be a lot more difficult or whatever. But yeah. Also, obviously, the DevFed stuff, because again, that's something that people have continued to complain about, that they don't know when to actually bring up people. Avatars, I think it'll just be more an interesting background thing. The post-show scrums will be fun. Obviously, there'll be probably something fun to do just, in a personal game. Maybe, in a Cornellverse game, I, play as, whoever in charge of USPW and just be a total, bastard to people. But yeah, I mean, this is all good stuff. I think this is all stuff that isn't in TW 2020. Doesn't make TW 2020 a bad game, but it does make TW 2020 TW better, and helps TW become a better series. I don't really believe people who say this is all because of competition from other sims, because those other sims they aren't that good yet. They're graphically better, but they still don't have the back end stuff, half the back end stuff, the TW stuff. They have some better stuff from what I've seen, but a lot of stuff that's just missing. And I'm not even a shill because I know there's problems. But again, we are weirdos who like our spreadsheet games about wrestling booking, so we're not going to get Football Manager or OTB yet. But this is all really good. If you told me half the stuff would have been in a game for TW 2013, I would have said no way. But I mean, that's it. So next week, will be hopefully more stuff. I forget, when is he saying? Yeah, July 27th. So yeah, still a couple more weeks till the beta. Another week till the actual game, and we'll see how that goes. But that's for now. I'll be around next week for the next edition of this. Of my first edition. Next show of my TW 2006 series will be up after on Monday. That's Nero. Talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.